Hey guys, Nikki and Franco here, and we wanted to say congratulations on making the step to really dive deep into Tantra and sex and intimacy and connection, which is really what this course is founded on. Although there's some beautiful practices that will support your physical exploration of sex, including things like lingam worship and yoni worship, and some actual sexual techniques and practices and tools that help you to increase your the physical joy of sex. This course is so much more than that, and you know that, right? You purchase this course and you're ready to dive deep with us. So we're really, really grateful to take you on this journey with us, because it's been quite a journey, right?
It has. I mean, coming up with this course and these teachings comes from a real place in Nikki and mine in our relationship. We have gone to different corners of the world to seek out masters in things like Tantra and yoga and different technologies and healing methods in order to bring fire and presence and just turn on our relationship, and that's what we are offering you in this course.
Basically, also we had to search far and wide because we felt we didn't receive the sexual education that humans actually deserve.
No.
We received a sex education like many at school, which was how not to do it, what to be really aware of,
how to be scared of it,
how to be cautious of the negativity of it. We grew up in a culture where it's fine to label your elbow, it's fine to label your knees, it's fine to touch your chin, it's fine to touch your hair, but you shouldn't mention or touch any of your genitals. As a woman, developing younger and growing, I was very aware of my body as something that people can comment on or make judgments on. And Franco and I decided that to deepen our experience of this existence, we wanted to study something that enabled us to explore the sensuality of the world, explore what it meant to be truly intimate with life. And that was, of course, a deepening of our sexual experience, but also looking further than that. Because for centuries, for millennia, people have believed sex to be a spiritual practice. And that has been totally missed out of our current education, of our current teachings, of the current discourse around sex in the Western world. Our children grow up seeing adults, parents who are too busy really to connect. And they grow up with no blueprint on how to have a loving, intimate, healthy relationship. I speak to many people who said that witnessing their parents, that they had nowhere to turn to. They either stayed in relationships far too long and it was damaging, or the breakup was very poisonous, or they lived side by side, coexisting, but without any intimacy, or there was domination and submission, which is painful. And the biggest indicator on whether or not our children will have a fulfilling, healthy, intimate life is if they've witnessed it in their lives. And because we hadn't really, we thought, right, let's seek out these masters.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you get that feeling that you're only as expansive as your mentors. And if you haven't had, like for me, like incredible men to go, wow, I want to be just like him, or woman, I just want to be just like her, then what you're left with is actually, you're left with a lot. You're left with your intuition. And that's what we predominantly are asking of you and teaching you how to come back to and how to trust is your inner tuition.
Yeah, your inner tuition, I love that. It's definitely a guiding force, and one that took us, like we said, to seek out traditional Tantra teachers. Instead of neo-Tantra or big positive, like popular movements now that seemed very alluring on the outside, we wanted something that was grounded in history. We love history, we love culture, and ours was missing a really important strand. And so we sought it out in India, and we received amazing, amazing teachings and spent time with people who gave us some extremely beautiful nuggets of info and lent their time towards our study. So
Absolutely.
this is this 10-day course or 10 session course, and again it's audio, so take your time. There's so much info in here. We've really packed it full. We don't expect you to listen to it once through and, you know, go off and be gurus in the bedroom. We expect you to be able to listen to it time and time again. Practice the meditations, practice them with your lovers, sit with the info, watch how it feels one week. It's going to feel different the next. We're constantly re-listening and relearning.
Let this be a guide for you to keep coming back to remember new things, and as you grow, come back and you'll hear something differently because you've grown as well. You know, and I love how you started with remembering, bringing us back to how our first sex education was at school.
Right.
Almost everyone I've ever talked to, sex education at school was the same one. It was like how not to do it, how to be scared of it, how to not get someone pregnant, and how not to, you know, when what I've learned through some amazing teachers of ours, one thing is that sex is in nature. Sex is everywhere. Not just everyone is doing it eventually, but everything does it. Everything has a masculine and feminine side to it, which creates life, creates our very existence. So why would we run from the thing that created us?
Right, totally. And so the course is about, like we said, far deeper than just tips and tricks on how to be intimate. It's about how to release shame around our body, how to get rid of guilt around past experiences or things we can't change, how to look at our patterns of relating and say, are these serving us? Or are these a giant safety blanket that keep us really safe right now? All of these you'll have time to explore in the course. But session one is sex is art. And this was something so important to us that, you know, there is so many destructive imagery out there at the moment with sex, with a giant porn industry, with sex toys industry and porn industry being led predominantly by men. I think it's 80 or 90% of all sex toys are designed by males, and porn as well, and so much gender imbalance, and so much action and money and domination, and so little feminine input, and so little gender equality in these giant sex industries that really bothered us.
And creating just so much need for out there sources, for out there things to make us happy. You'll find as you go through this course that all you ever needed is yourself, and being present with that person to bring up that beautiful tuition that has been stockpiling for millennia through your family lines, and trust yourself to make the right move for you.
So starting with sex as art and invites you into that softer place. That place that hasn't been looked at by those big companies. We're not going to ask you to go out and buy anything. There's no gadget or gimmick that you need right now in order for this to happen. It's simply an invitation within to see the beauty within and to view this extremely sacred act as art, right, in order to become that lover that you desire. And we look at what is Tantra and what is it not, because it is widely misinterpreted. It's of course responsible for getting you to the practices that we will teach you can get you to orgasmic states of bliss, places where perhaps you've never been before, places where you can see the infinite, places where nothing seems to matter anymore, places that can shift your whole day experience.
Give you a straight connection to the divine everything through an orgasm. But Tantra is so much more of that than that. You know, it's about oneness. It's about your whole day. How do you live your life? What are you holding on to that isn't serving you? Relaxation is a big part of Tantra. Relaxing in the moments that don't need tension, that don't need work.
Absolutely. Another word for Tantra, another sort of translation for Tantra is capacity or sort of like capability, really. And so stepping into the ability to just be, to the capacity to just be. is really, really important with Tantra. And a way that we work with Tantra is by becoming aware of the energy centers of the body. By moving from the lower energy centers up through to the higher energy centers. Moving energy in this way can take it out of a primal need for release and into more of a connection with the divine. So that's how we open session 1, really quite broadly, but we take you into your body, because the magic of presence, as we talk about in course 1, is really the foundation for this course as well. And session 2.
Absolutely.
The spiritual potential of sacred sex and its sensuality and surrender. And Franco guides you through a beautiful meditation in this one, where we acknowledge the masculine and the feminine push and pull of everything, whether it be the waves, whether it be the atoms that first created everything, whether it be the flowers opening and closing, or the moon open and close every single day.
Yeah.
The cycles of the moon.
Taking you back to nature.
Right.
As I said before, sex is in nature everywhere, and guiding you back to that state, back to that seed self, where you will realize that you are enough, whole and complete as you are, and once you embody that person, once you embody the essence of your true being, the seed self, then you'll be an absolute bloom of color for who is looking for you out there in the world as well.
Right, and further on that, this week we invite you within. We invite you to take a lantern through meditation. Again, this is all within, and take it into those areas that you haven't shown anyone, those areas that you're scared to go to guide you through this area of your body, throughout your genitals, throughout your sexual organs, and see what's sort of lurking amongst those lower energy centers, and invite you to bring lights to them. Invite you to breathe them out. Invite you to release any shame or guilt that's stopping you from that seed self that you refer to.
And any trauma, we've all gone through some form of trauma, whether it be sexual or we were hit in the playground when we were 3 years old. Like, it's all manifests. Deepak Chopra says that we are a printout of everything that we have ever done.
Right.
You know, and so we're just going in to look at that printout and go, okay, that happened a long time ago. That was because of this, and we can let that go, or maybe just not even let it go right now, but just acknowledge that something happened there and feel into it, because our body is smart, our brain, our body, our spirit is smart. We bring what's really happening for us up, and as long as it has space to come up, it can be dealt with, and just trusting that your body is the best doctor you will ever find, and the best psychologist you will ever discover, and it will heal. It will have a chance of healing if it just comes up, if it's given the space.
So many people say to us, I feel numb. I don't feel good. I don't feel bad, but I feel numb, and I want to feel more. And numbness is a response to fear. Numbness is a response to pain or trauma or shame or guilt. And so it's important in these early weeks that we start by looking at what's there.
Absolutely.
And moving on to session 3.
Yeah.
That you can listen to all back to back, or you can spread out. This one's communication and desire, and the importance of language in love. And we really invite you to look at some of the ways we refer to sex, that we refer to the organs, the genitals and the sexual organs, and say, is this what's best serving us right now? In Tantra, we invite you to use some Sanskrit terms that we cover in the course. And basically we invite you to sort of reprogram some of the terminology that hinders ecstasy, that hinders, or that's sort of laden with those feelings of shame and guilt from your past.
There's a lot of terminology that we call our most beautiful sexual organs that we also call people that we hate, or things that we don't like, and it's this to come back to the most ancient words is a beautiful starting point to sort of resetting the mind and spirit and body and your sexual practice. And in day 3 we're also looking at desire and communication, and how we acknowledge also how scary actually it is to ask for what you want.
Right.
You might want to have a think about right now, like a moment in your life that you've been just scared to ask for what you want. I noticed that in kids, but we have many daughters, and I was at the shop yesterday with my daughter, and she was telling me what her order was when I'm not the guy at the register. And I'm like, you go tell the man at the register what you want. And she asked me like 3 times. She told me 3 times what she wanted. And I'm like, so it starts really early, like not being able to ask for what we want. So we look into how beautiful it is when you can be clear about what your desires are, because that is a direct invitation to then have that come back to you through your partner's words as well. Like what do they want? And then suddenly you're playing this beautiful sort of game of tennis with desire, and it's a beautiful thing in a world where sometimes the truth about what each other are feeling is the hardest thing to bring up.
Yeah,
but the most powerful.
True. Yeah, it's extremely true.
Yeah.
And day 4 or session 4, we look at the environment. And this is not just the external environment, right? How to create space for lovemaking, which we give some beautiful, beautiful tips and techniques to do with removing artificial light and bringing in candles and safe ways that aren't going to freak you out, right? We don't want fear when we're having intimate moments. Things like smell and touch, bringing the bed onto the floor rather than having the bed lifted up higher. Things like sitting with each other and taking time with music. Things like soft fabrics or textures, returning us back to our feeling body rather than our thought. But as well as that external environment, we look at preparing the inner environment for lovemaking, the inner environment for this spiritual endeavor, because this course is a spiritual endeavor. It's not just how do I have better orgasms, how do I have better sex, how do I look like that guy does in that movie, right? It's more about I'm ready to go deep within this human experience and to use sex as a method to understand more about myself. Use sex as a method to connect myself with my environment because I feel disconnected. Use sex as a method to deepen my relationship with my body, with my desire, with my lover. And preparing the inner environment or the inner landscape for sexual union is super important. Because
life is a holistic experience. It's in India, they've absolutely got it nailed with Ayurveda, where doctors look at the whole, your whole life, your whole day. You come to them with some kind of sickness, and they go, okay, how much sleep are you getting? What are you eating? Breakfast, lunch, and
it's
dinner.
Like how to stay well, not how to fix something when it's wrong. It's like how to remain well in life. It's a very different way. Exactly,
and your whole day then comes into your intimacy through sex at night or during the day, whenever you're having it. Your thoughts, the way you talk to people on the street, the way you feed yourself, it all comes into everything. So we look at sex as a holistic thing.
We do a beautiful meditation in this week, actually, where we drop you into sort of an embodied presence, where you are invited to look at your body. And instead of always referring to the mind or making this some sort of mind activity, take this meditation into the body. And we start by fostering some genital consciousness, which can sound a little different, right? But it's vital with sex. Our genitals are hugely important, not just for the actual lovemaking, but they are great senders or signals of energy, signals of information between you and yourself and also you and your lover. And they will increase sensitivity the more we foster awareness of them. And that feels better, right? So worth working on.
Absolutely.
Week 5, right? Day 5. Session 5, whatever you want to call it, Shakti energy, wild, raw, and sensuous. And we look at this, basically, Shakti energy, we describe in the session, is the energy of the feminine, and we use these terms. There's a discussion about these terms as well in the course. They're not gender reliant, feminine, masculine. It's more like yin and yang. It's more like Shakti and Shiva. They're terms that have been loosely translated to feminine and masculine, and they exist within all of us. I have a feminine and a masculine, and he has a feminine and a masculine, and he will call on different parts in his lovemaking, and I will call on different parts of mine. It doesn't change anything outwardly. It doesn't sort of affect the whole sort of portrayal of man and woman, but it does enable us to play within different energies and to use a framework for understanding how those energies work.
We also focus on the breath,
and
we do some breathing techniques to bring us into presence and to just align our center. As Nikki just said, that we're made up of masculine and feminine, Shiva and Shakti, whatever you want to call it, and breath really helps us ground and acknowledge the wholesome being, the full being that we are, and it also really helps us power ourselves up for whatever's coming.
Shakti energy is quite, like I say, wild and raw and sensuous, and it's kind of unlimited. It's the creative energy that exists within all of us. And so channeling it up through our bodies with breath, using breath to lift it from a place down below, right up through the different organs, through the different energy centers and out through the top of the head, enables us to practice that sex as a spiritual practice, connection with the divine. And follows on, right?
Which brings us into day 6, which is the Shiva energy and penetrating power.
Of focused energy.
Yeah.
So instead of the wild, raw, sensuous energy of Shakti, it's more of like a focused, penetrative energy of Shiva. And this one here is powerful because we draw on some of the work we've done with kissing and touch. Because again, often with intimacy, this is one of the first ways you connect with someone. Through the kiss and through the touch, and how to increase consciousness in this area of the body to really tune in and to allow the signals and the intelligence that exists within the mouth and the lips and the tongue to read the other one person, to make the most of the intimate experience, and to hear and receive those signals in a really honest way, because it's all about becoming more present in our lovemaking, more alert, more awake, and more in service of the spiritual practice, rather than just some friction-focused, quick, get it done. Because this is common with sex, right?
Yeah.
This is common. I mean, so much of our sexual education, so much of what we see on TV is this rather fast, hard, friction, dominant
yeah.
Sort of exercise where true tantric experience can last for hours and hours and hours, and can be an interplay between all these different energies.
And as we said before, and we keep saying, you're actually having pre-sex all the time. How are you? How you are in one part of your day is how you are in another part. Like you are. You're always in build up, and you're always in sort of come down flow. So we're through these courses are wanting you to. We're giving you tips and tricks to be able to come and meet your partner, rather than give too much or take too much. Predominantly, what everyone is wanting is to meet at that beautiful apex together, and everyone is capable of that.
Right, eye gazing as well. During this week, we look at the power of the eyes, the power of the gaze, the power of presence, the power of communication without words, because there are so many words in this day and age. We fall into this trap, right?
Yeah, we can fall into this trap.
We totally fall into this trap where it feels comfortable to speak.
Yeah, but there's so much more communication to be had. There's the energy communication, the vibration communication. What is her body saying? Am I listening to just to her words and not actually hearing what she's giving off with her body and her movement? And so we look at all that as well.
Right, yeah. Takes us into day 7, week 7, and it's the sound of sex. So moving from just what's transmitted through the eyes to communication to authentic sounding.
Release.
Release. Our genitals don't have a voice box. Our desire doesn't have a voice box. This is what's responsible. and we talk about how the throat mimics in many ways or corresponds to different areas, say within the yoni or the female genitalia, and about how the two are connected, and about how truly authentic sounding during sex can take you to extremely beautiful highs and spiritual ascension.
I mean, the sound of for a man to hear a woman in her truth, in her true sound, is very much a turn on. And Nikki has said that the same happens in reverse, to hear her man really authentically sounding his experience out is really beautiful for her to hear. So we're exchanging there, and for the person that's expressing that voice and that sound, that vibration, it's a release in itself. So you're basically saying to your body, you are okay, you are safe to relax, you are safe to relax into this and experience the fullness of what is happening.
Right. And Franco is a mantra artist, and in the session we get to travel up the body using different calls and different mantras to release different areas of the body that correspond to the different centers, energy
to
centers.
Awaken the chakras and really just clear ourselves to be a really clear vessel for your life, to get the most out of it.
Yeah, looking also at things like lingam worship, looking at the genitals as not something that you want to take from or use friction just as the means for pleasure. Really just admiring the body, doing some sort of sacred rituals with bodies that are basic yet can be transformative for someone who's felt a lot of pressure in their life, a lot of pressure on their body. Some beautiful tools to really give your lover. Those ones really excite me.
And also playing with stillness as well. There's so much friction and go in our life. To just stay and be with your partner is a whole another adventure to have.
Right.
So we look at this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. How to step away from friction and results and drop into feeling, which can be scary as well.
That can be. And day 8.
Day 8, pathways to Ananda, which is ecstasy and bliss, suspense, touch, and breast pleasure. Often we learn how to touch and we learn how to be with our lovers through things like porn, or through our own kind of scattered sexual experiences which didn't follow up with some kind of debrief usually, and so it's hard to know kind of what worked and what didn't. We develop these practices that we think work for us, and then we apply them to other lovers, which don't necessarily work.
We kind of learn from our friends and our friends growing up, like myths as well,
right.
of like what they did with Sally down the street. Is like, well, it's probably a blimped out story, and it isn't actually what happened. So now we try to do that, and it's like she's like, what?
There's a lot of hit and miss, and I suppose that the course, if anything else, it drops you into turning your body into something that can listen in all ways, turning your body into the witness, so that you can witness your lover's body, the skin. What do their breasts do? What is their voice telling you? What are their eyes telling you? What are their words telling you? What is the absence of words telling you?
We talk about polarity as well. How
the energetics.
The positive point for a woman is her breast area, and the positive point for a man is his genitals, and how perfect like a woman and a man goes together.
Yeah, totally. The energetics of sex and a heterosexual coupling can create different energetic fields or energetic circuits. And that's not to say that this course isn't suitable for people who aren't in heterosexual pairings at all. There's the energetics of sex is something that no one's really that aware of, or there's limited knowledge about, and there's so much to look at with that, so much to do. And so yeah, energetics of sex is something that we cover in edging techniques on how to pleasure the breasts without overstimulation, without understimulation, trying to find that midway point.
That point of that beautiful tension by not quite going the full shamali, and just edging, and we talk about that, and
in session 9 as well, the Shiva Shakti union, bringing those masculine and feminine energies together, and looking at things like non-ejaculation or cum fasting for a man holding his seed and allowing sex to not be a race to orgasm, to not be this goal-oriented pursuit. A lot of people are quite surprised by this, but find a lot of men that we work with find deep jewels in the magic of this, where they can learn to hold on to their creative energy, hold on to literally their prana, their chi, and direct this in different ways of their life, but also have these extremely orgasmic experiences just without ejaculation. So we talk about the difference between ejaculation and orgasm, and how it's worth pursuing a practice. And lastly, integration for session 10, living and loving and healthy sexual activation. This is the goal. This is the magic, to keep it going, to integrate it into life, to master one's own sexual energy, and to share that from a place of honesty and integrity, with the added bonus of being in service to the divine, of being in service to accessing energy channels and experiences that kind of transcend our everyday existence.
It's powerful stuff.
So this week we do a recap. There's so much covered in the course that week 10 is a recap. But you get the course and you get to keep the course. The course is yours. So you can revisit aspects, right?
Yep, and we just made it really, really simply in an audio format for you to put the headphones on or put it on your little speaker system in your bedroom with your partner, without your partner. And you can revisit it time and time again, push pause, replay, write your notes, send us a message. We're right here for you.
Reach out with questions and comments and anything that you'd like more support with, because this course will activate things in you. It will bring to the surface things that you weren't aware of. Every time you hear it, things will shift, things can move, and it's about becoming aware of that within, and feeling proud of yourself for taking this leap.
Yeah, we're super proud of you. Thank you so much for entrusting us to share these courses with you. It's a big deal, and we just wish you a holistic, fun, awesome life.
Yeah, enjoy your journey.
Namaste.
Namaste.